The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome, Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday, a very, very, very busy Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Of course, on the YouTube page, at PTL Radio Show, the FM AM Dial KSHP, Pushing the Limits live. And as we are speaking right now, the House is set to vote on the possibility of the DOJ releasing the Epstein files. We're certainly going to get into that. And what took place with the Saudi prince today in the White House is mesmerizing and unbelievable. Some great guests today. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Destiny is going to be joining us. Been wanting to talk to him for a little while. Certainly a lot to get to with him. But with everything that has transpired here over the course of the last 24 hours, what better person to have on than the editor-in-chief of Midas Touch, the man himself, Ron Filipowski, leading us off today. Ron, good to see you as always. How are you?
Good. Yeah, we just had the vote, 427-1, with Clay Higgins, shockingly.
I just saw that. Yeah.
The only one to vote against it. Clay Higgins is, I like to say Clay is Higginsing, because it's like there's nobody else like Clay Higgins. He is a unique character. Thank God there's nobody else like him.
Yeah, that isn't that for sure, Ron. Does this surprise you at all, or is this pretty much what you expected with this vote?
Well, I mean, the reporting was like the reporting was that once they got the 218th signature, the first initial reports were like as many as 30 or 40 Republicans are now going to vote for it because, you know, they don't want to have their names attached to block. They were perfectly happy to hide for the last 8 or 9 months and refuse to sign the petition and hide behind it not being able to come to the floor for a vote. They could just say, oh, I'm focused on other things, you know. But once that 218th signature came and they knew it was now they don't want to have their name attached to blocking the files. So the first reporting was 30 to 40. Then the next reporting the next day was as many as 100 Republicans are now going to vote for this, which is just it's a disgustingly cowardly thing that they would block this as long as they did. And, you know, a couple of them, they were even asked them. I saw Notice did a report where they asked some of them, like, why didn't you sign the petition if you're saying you're going to vote? And they're like, oh, you know, nobody asked me to sign it. Or, you know, I mean, it was like one lame excuse after dog ate my homework excuse after another from these cowards. But then when the reporting got to like 100, that's when Trump sent out his post saying, okay, everybody just vote for it now, because, you know, he didn't want to be humiliated by him opposing this and having as many as 100 members of his own party vote against him. So he had to switch and to try and save face here. But the question is, you know, what happens now?
Well, I have a theory. I wanted to ask you about this,
right.
and I know I'm not the only one with this theory, but immediately when I saw that Truth Social tweet by Trump telling Republicans, go ahead and vote yes, I thought to myself, there's a reason why he's doing this, and I think part of it is what you just spoke about, right? He wants to try to save face, not look bad. But I think they're going to open up a new investigation. And I think, and as you know, if they do that, they can't release most of the Epstein files. Have you heard that, and what are your thoughts on that theory?
Yeah, there's multiple different things that are likely to happen or could happen right now that it's cleared the House. It's got to go to the Senate. And
right.
Mike Johnson said today that he had a conversation with John Thune, the majority leader, and that several amendments are going to be issued in the Senate. Now, devil's in the details there. I mean, he continues to falsely claim that there's victim info in here that needs to be redacted. That bill is in the petition. There's no victim impact. There's no victim info that was ever going to be released. Mm-hmm. So he's talking about national security concerns. I think what they're going to try and do is really gum this up in the Senate with a lot of amendments. They're talking about like people who are innocent, who are mentioned in the files, witnesses who came forward to give information. You probably had a lot of informant information in there as well. National security concerns, the fact that maybe some U.S. intelligence agencies who are monitoring Epstein's activity both in banks and overseas, contributed a lot of the information. So they're worried about blah. The thing is, once you start doing this, and because then it comes down to the final bill comes down to the Department of Justice, and how are they going to interpret it? We already know that way back in March, April, Kash Patel assigned as many as 1,000 FBI agents to go through these files and to redact every instance of Donald Trump's name, citing there's some exceptions to the Freedom of Information Act, Section 6 and Section 7, citing those sections, saying that Trump's name should not be revealed because he was a private citizen at the time, all these ridiculous excuses. So really the question is, how is the Senate going to water this down? What are they going to do to gum it up? Then how is Pam Bondi going to interpret that language? And then what are they going to put out, if anything? Because as you said, yes, Trump has ordered them to open up a new investigation after Bondi announced back in March that the investigation was closed. And will they use that as an excuse to then say to Congress, we can't release anything? What we know is, like, they have used every trick in the book to drag it out this long, 11 months, and they're going to continue to use every trick in the book to drag it out even more.
So the Laura Loomers of the world and others, because it seems like, and I know you know her personally, she never seems to hold Donald Trump to account. It's always his advisors and everybody else, and it's never Donald Trump's fault. What's going to be the excuse this time? I'm wondering, what are the people on the far right and these people on social media going to say when eventually, and I agree with everything you just said, I think it's going to be delayed and delayed and delayed, and I don't think we're going to see it in Trump's presidency. What's going to be the excuse from the right?
Well, I mean, they're going to point to the Democrats that are in here, and we know that Democrats are throughout. Look, there are Republicans all over the files. There are Democrats all over the files. Democrats said whoever's in there needs to be held accountable, whether it's our party or not, and that's the bottom. Every Democrat has said that. But they're going to point to that. They're going to point to the fact that, what they're going to say is that I doubt that they're ever going to release any information that's going to tie Trump to anything. We know that there's tons of stuff in the files where people have implicated Trump. I question whether any of that will ever come out. And so they'll just keep pointing to that. Like, hey, look, there's all these Democrats mentioned. There's nothing in here about Trump. Of course, magically it's all redacted out. And that's what they're going to fall back on. Why? The other thing that you hear a lot from them is, well, why didn't Democrats release this during the Biden presidency? I mean,
Maxwell trial.
They couldn't. Maxwell's case was pending. The trial was pending. Then her appeals are pending. DOJ cannot, if they had released anything to the public, then she could have gotten her charges thrown out. So it's just, I thought that some of the most powerful statements today at the press conference outside the Capitol were made by the victims, who, basically just implored them to stop playing games. And by the way, the number of victims continues to increase every single time they do a press conference. More, we know there's like over 1,000 victims.
Yeah.
And, the first one might have had 6 or 7. Now they got like 30 or 40. More are coming forward all the time. There's so many of these women who were girls then who have never spoken about this, never given any statements. And we at Midas, I know Aaron Parnas has been reaching out and working to try and get some of them to come forward. And I think that some of them have never met each other, and they're kind of forming these support groups too. And that could help get more info out there.
Ron, I know this is like a hypothetical and we don't know, but do you feel like there are eventually some of these victims that may come forward and say that Donald Trump did some unlawful things to them? Do you think that's a possibility that could happen down the road?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I think they're really scared.
Yeah.
They're scared of a few things. They're scared of lawsuits, and that's the other thing you hear all the time. This is another excuse you hear from the right, which is, well, why don't if Donald Trump was involved, one of these girls would have said it. Well, they're all afraid of being sued. They've said that numerous times. One person came forward and implicated Alan Dershowitz and got sued immediately by Dershowitz. We know that Trump sues everybody. Trump currently has 15 lawsuits pending right now. He just sued the BBC. Trump sues everyone. And so these people don't have a lot of money. They don't have the ability to hire expensive lawyers and fight these cases. So that's part of it, so they have to think about that. They have to think about he's the president of the United States.
Right.
Two of the most prominent people involved in this have committed suicide. One Jeffrey Epstein, while in federal custody, while Trump was president, mysteriously dies. The other one, Virginia Giuffre, commits suicide and she was the one who worked for Donald Trump. So yeah. I think that a lot of the girls out there, or women out there, are looking at this going, I might get suicided and I might get sued. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So
two-part question to all this stuff. First of all, Thomas Massie, let's talk about him for a moment and all the attacks. Even Laura Loomer alleging that maybe Massie might have had something to do with his wife's death. You have Donald Trump going out there saying, wow, well, look at how he remarried so fast. And as if Donald Trump should be talking about marriage and vows and that sort of stuff. It's insane. What do you make about the attacks on Massie? And my second part is Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is a whole nother situation with, so many MAGA Republicans going after her, calling her a traitor. Listen, I don't feel sorry for anything that's happening to Marjorie Taylor Greene. But at the same time, any of the death threats she's getting and everything, I'm wondering where she was for the last 9 years when all this happened to Mike Pence and all these other Republicans that didn't agree with Trump on certain issues. But I guess that's a two-part question, but go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I was to take Greene first. I was messaging with her boyfriend back and forth.
Ryan Glenn. Yep.
While he was with her over the weekend when all this went down. And, because Brian's in a tough spot, Brian is the White House correspondent for Real America's Voice. Right. And the reason why he got that gig is because Trump always really liked him and Trump always calls on him. So Brian can be in a press gaggle with 40 reporters and Trump will typically call on him first. I mean, he's always liked Brian. So I guess, that was one of the things we talked about, was the fact of what are you going to do, man? It's going to be hard. You know how vindictive Trump can be,
If you don't mind me asking, I know that's a private conversation, but can you reveal anything that he said? I mean, that is a tough spot for him because you want to coddle Trump to get the access for your job.
Yeah.
And listen,
I won't reveal everything we talked about, but I'll say that, forced to take sides. He's taking sides with Greene. I mean, if it comes down to where he has to choose her or his career, he's going with her. I mean, he's prepared to walk away from that if he has to.
Interesting.
I'm hoping that he doesn't have to. I mean, he's hoping that he doesn't have to.
I've had private conversations with Brian Glenn. He seems like a nice guy, as you have.
Yeah.
But I obviously don't like the questions that he asks in a lot of these press conferences.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sure.
But let me ask you this.
He's a full Trump cultist.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think he's a journalist. That's just my personal opinion. But with that being said, did he have anything to say about what they're doing to Marjorie Taylor Greene? And do you think, Ron,
he's not happy?
Right. I mean, I would imagine he's not happy. Is this an act, or is this is the only reason why Marjorie? My question to you is the only reason why? Okay. Do you believe that the reason why does this have anything to do with the fact that he wasn't going to back her, or is this genuine with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because I know she's apologized and she said, I take responsibility for all the rhetoric in the past. Do you believe she's genuine? I guess that's my question. When she apologizes and all this other stuff happened to all these other Republicans, and now all of a sudden she sees the light.
I mean, Margie's position for many years, going back to when she had her Facebook show in 2018 and 2019 was always on Epstein. I mean, she was always talking about it because she believed that it was an Israeli thing where he was being paid by the Israeli government to compromise prominent U.S. elected officials, but she didn't believe Trump was involved. See, that's the thing. She thought this was all going to be a bunch of Democrats and Wall Street people and media people and globalists. and CEOs, and she absolutely never believed that Trump was going to be implicated. She thought that the files were going to exonerate Trump. And so I think that when Trump was so aggressively adamant earlier this year to block these, I think that surprised her. And I think that caused her to reevaluate and reassess her position, which is, why is he fighting me so hard on this?
Right.
If he has nothing to hide? And I think that really impacted her. So when I say like this, but it's not just that. This has been brewing. This has been building for a while. I mean, Marge, to be very clear, she's not like satisfied and never has been satisfied with just being a backbench representative. Like, she doesn't want to be a Boebert. She has never wanted that. She has always wanted to be senator, to be governor, to be vice president, to be president, or speaker of the House. Like, her like doing 20 years as a backbencher in the House, that's not going to happen. That's not who she is. And so her plan all along was to back McCarthy for speaker, have McCarthy put her in a leadership position in the House, committee chair, something like that, and then parlay that into a Trump endorsement to run against John Ossoff for Senate. That was her career. And then later, be VP or president down the line, 2032, whatever. That was always her plan. And who wrecked that plan was Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump did, well, first of all, Matt Gaetz wrecked the plan by getting rid of McCarthy. And for that reason, she ended her friendship with Gaetz. They were close friends. Hell, I went to a rally where it was the two of them together in Florida, Green and Gaetz together. They went on the road together. That bridge was burned. That when he ousted McCarthy. And then when Trump refused to endorse her for Senate, I think that was the final straw for her.
But Ron, I have to ask you this. Do you think I'm wrong in saying I don't really feel bad for Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'm happy that she's on the right side. I'm happy that she's been consistent on the Epstein files. I think she was extremely ignorant to not think that Trump had a part in this. The fact that she knew that he was a best friend of his for many, many years. She's seen the videos. Look at what they did to Mike Pence. Look at what they did to all these other Republicans. And she kept quiet. She never, now she's all of a sudden upset because rightfully so, she's getting death threats and he's doing to her what he did to Pence and all these other people. But my question to her is, where were you for the last 9 years? I understand you like some of his policies, but that's a different conversation. Where were you? Trump's been doing this for years. She's been living under a rock. That's why I don't feel sorry for her, Ron. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
No, I agree with you. I mean, even though I do talk to them and, back and forth, it doesn't mean that we're friends or I agree with them. I mean, I obviously disagree with Brian about a lot of things.
Right.
And he knows that. But I'm very big on compartmentalizing, man. I'm like, maybe that's the old lifelong Republican in me, that I sort of separate these things out. I think Democrats more are like, if they're really against you on this one particular issue, they cannot let that go, and so I'm able to sort of like with Loomer and others, just sort of like, okay, anytime Loomer wants to talk about how terrible the Republican Party is, we'll have that conversation, but we don't discuss anything else. We don't discuss Trump. We don't discuss Biden. If she wants to go after some Republican member of Congress, her and I will collaborate on that, but nothing else. So I really do, like on Green, Ro Khanna and Raskin both came out and invited her to join the Democratic Party. And I'm like, first of all, she's not going to do that because she could get elected in that Northwest Georgia district for the rest of her life. Trump could run against her in that district. He couldn't beat her. But if she switches parties, there's no way. Northwest Georgia is like rock solid Republican hillbilly country, so there's no way she could switch parties. So that's number one. And then number two, I'm like, look, on things like January 6th, Ukraine, like so many other issues, healthcare. I mean, well, maybe not healthcare, but so many other issues. Green has not changed her position at all on so many things. That the election was stolen in 2020. She's not backing off any of that stuff. So how can you be a Democrat if
Yeah,
I mean, I could see if you're like pro-life, okay, we could possibly have a pro-life Democrat, but you can't have somebody who thinks, January 6th was an FBI operation.
Completely agree with you that there's no way that's going to happen. I do, before I let you go, Ron, I do want to ask you about this press conference with the Saudi prince earlier today that I thought was reprehensible. As you know, that reporter from, I believe, ABC asked some great questions. She did a wonderful job. She asked about Epstein. She pressed him on Epstein, the Khashoggi murder, when we know that the Saudis were responsible for that. And what does Donald Trump do? What he always does, coddle evil dictators, or in this case, the Saudi prince who enables terrorism, I guess you could say, and murder, took his side, almost like flirtatious with this guy. It was so awful. I mean, what do you make of this? And this is a week after one of the former Al-Qaeda leaders was invited to the White House. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I keep thinking about how, like, he treats these guys like they're his best friends, and then Zelensky comes over and gets treated like shit. It's like, or the Canadian PM, same thing. It's like he's so great to like Orban and Putin and the El Salvador president, MBS. They're all his best buddies. But like the UK PM comes, the Ukraine, Canadian PM, they're all garbage. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But look, last night he called a Bloomberg reporter Miss Piggy.
I saw that,
which he's used that term before. There was one of his Miss Universe contestants who won, she said when she started putting on a few pounds, he started calling her Miss Piggy. So he's rolled that insult out again. And then he told the female reporter today from the ABC, and it's always women. It's always women that he does this to. He told her he didn't like her attitude. She was disrespectful. And he was going to contact FCC chair Brendan Carr to try and pull ABC's broadcast license again, but of course, that's not going to happen. But it's a question of access. I mean, she could get thrown out of the White House press corps. She could not get called on. There's a lot of other ways that they can retaliate. And some of the comments that he made about MBS were disgusting. He said he was totally innocent of the Khashoggi thing when our own CIA says he was the one who ordered the thing and was involved in the whole deal. Like, so Trump is again contradicting our own government because, that's his boy. But really, I'll say the final point is like the main thing about all of this, and people focus on Khashoggi all the time, and that's fine. But I can just tell you that the average American doesn't care about Khashoggi. This is like largely a DC insider type thing. It's the corruption that's more important. That Trump has made a half dozen business deals with the Saudi Global Wealth Fund this year, where they just announced one 2 days ago, a new partnership between them to build a resort in Maldives. They have crypto businesses together. They're building a $5.5 billion complex that involves Trump over there right now. They inked that deal like 6 months ago. The bottom line is that's the story. The story is that the Saudi government has been lining Trump's pockets with tens of millions of dollars this year. Mm-hmm. And what are they getting in return? They're getting nuclear technology. They're getting F-35 jets. They're getting security guarantees. And they're getting Oval Office visits. And they're getting Trump to say that MBS is innocent of a crime that we know he's guilty of.
I mean, how awkward is it? I mean, when you see them almost flirtatious with each other, the weird touching, I don't know, just really awkward. Before I let you go, Ron, boy, there's so much that I'm sure you're going to be writing about today. I'm sure the Epstein vote is one of them. What do you got on your Substack today?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing is just sort of like what I'm doing is trying to blend everything that was going on at the same time. The victim press conference outside, and you had the Mike Johnson press conference inside. Then you had members of Congress who were chiming in on social media, and then you had Trump talking about it. So just kind of like weaving all those different, it was like a 5-act play that was going on at the same time. And then the floor vote, and then there was committee hearings about it, where it was being discussed. So just trying to weave all that together in one big, like, continuous narrative is the hard part today. I have all the quotes. It's just like putting them all together in a thing that makes sense is the hard part. But hopefully by 6 o'clock, it'll look pretty good.
Can't wait to read it, Ron. Boy, you're going to be a busy guy. You always are. Love what you guys do at Midas Touch, Ron. Always appreciate the time, my friend. Let you get back to it. We'll catch up with you soon. Always appreciate the time, Ron. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a good show.
Take care. You too. Thanks, Ron. Ron Filipkowski, everybody. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think he's the best in the business. I think he's the best in the business at just narrowing down the truth of what's happening on a daily basis when it comes to the political spectrum. He's so good at what he does. He's so smart. And if you look at his Twitter account, which millions of you I'm sure have, he's also very funny at times with his sarcasm with his tweets. The great Ron Filipkowski, everybody. We're very lucky that he joins us every week. I love Ron to death. I just think, like I said, I think he's the best. And I think the people at Midas Touch are so good. I don't think I know. They're so good at what they did. I have a bone to pick with Tim Pool. I'm going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to have some audio to play. But the one, the only, Destiny will be joining us next. Get his take on the Epstein files. Get his take on this House vote and so much more. We'll talk Marjorie Taylor Greene with him as well. That's right. Destiny will be joining us next. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
You are way too smart, way too talented, way too good to be where you are. You are meant to be making way more money, feel way hotter in your body, and having way more fun. Hi, I'm Nicole Mitchell, and I'm a life coach. I help you get hotter and richer. If that is what you're looking for, you can find me at NicoleMitchell.com. My name, Nicole, is with a K, NicoleMitchell.com. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram, and I will be happy to be in touch and figure out what you're looking for and how I can support you in getting there.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part, every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll $5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. I'm very fortunate that I have a Rolodex of some wonderful people. Ron Filipkowski, obviously being one of them. He joins us every week. Ryan Shedd, one of the best left-leaning podcasters around, is going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. And, you know, I joined the Un-F America tour with Z and the gang. I just think it's awesome. I'm very new to this. We're going to be out there in Phoenix next month. And there's just a lot of wonderful people within the Un-F America tour. We just had an event here in Vegas a few weeks back, and gave me the opportunity to meet Destiny, who is obviously one of the largest streamers on the planet. And he's one of the very few people in the political world that I tend to agree with like 99.9% of the time. And he's a busy man, and he's nice enough to be joining us right now on a Tuesday afternoon. Destiny, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing?
Doing okay, Destiny. Thanks again for joining us. I really appreciate it. There's so much to get to with you in a short period of time. I have to start by asking you about this Epstein vote. Seems like there were a lot of Republican cowards out there that did not want to vote yes until they felt like they probably had to now. What do you make of this vote, and did you see this coming? I think only one person voted no on this. What's your take on this?
I mean, it's inevitable at this point, right? If you know it's going to pass, you probably don't want to be the person voting against it. I don't like following the Epstein stuff that much. I've read that the FBI is trying to redact a bunch of stuff. I don't know if those are the same documents that Congress has access to or not. So I don't know if like redacted documents will get released or not. But I think after the shutdown, I think after the rising prices, it's like hit after hit after hit for the Trump admin. This Epstein thing is just another thing that's piling on top. And then when you're seeing the base start to fracture, when you're seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene start to stake out a position that is not squarely inside Trump territory anymore. I just think this is just another domino falling where, if the vote goes one way, you don't want to be the wrong side of that, just in case the political winds, really take off in the other direction. It's my guess.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but I mean, do you believe Donald Trump was with underage girls, not just someone who was friends with Epstein and maybe was on Epstein Island? I know this is speculation, but do you feel eventually there will be women that will come forward and bring his name out? I know there's a lot of these women that are probably afraid of lawsuits. I just talked to Ron Filipkowski about that. But do you think eventually there will be some evidence or a witness that will come forward and say, yes, Donald Trump did do this to me?
My feeling is that I'm such a boring anti-conspiracy guy. I feel like if he would have done it, I feel like it would have come out by now. That just seems like such an impossible thing to hide. And I think it also strains credulity to believe that Epstein had all this information and none of it ever came out, and he was imprisoned, right? People always talk about like this, the black book, the client list, the black mat. Like, well, the whole point of having that is so that nothing bad happens to you, right? So how was he arrested so easily, imprisoned, and then I guess assassinated, if you believe that? Like, what was the point of having the blackmail list? And it's like, well, people say, well, it doesn't always work 100% of the time. It's like, okay, well, why isn't it released now, right? Clearly, you would have to have some kind of something. Otherwise, what's the point? So I feel like if he would have done it, I feel like it would have come out by now. My take is that I feel like there's probably a lot of just really unfortunate lineups of Trump was probably a lot closer to Epstein than he likes to admit publicly. It wouldn't surprise me if Trump knew that Epstein liked to fuck young girls. I'm sorry, have sex.
That's okay.
I don't wait.
That's
okay.
You're good.
Okay.
We have a 5-second delay. You're good.
Okay. Jesus, my bad. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That he knew that like Epstein was doing stuff that he shouldn't have been. If we were in any other media environment, in my personal opinion, the headline breaking story of all the Epstein stuff that got basically no viewership was when Trump was standing outside of, some helicopter, and they asked him about, did you know Epstein was taking girls from Mar-a-Lago? And I think he opens with like, well, I'm not going to say a name. And then he's like, yeah, we knew he took this girl who I think was the one who ended up committing suicide, right? And he's like, yeah. And after he took a second one, we blocked him from taking any more. And it's like, how do you just admit this? This is some stuff that you plead the fifth on. Why are you saying this in front of media?
Do you think that could be sex trafficking? I mean, I know your take is, well, he probably didn't, he probably most likely wasn't with an underage girl. But do you believe that? Because I'm trying to figure this out. He is so adamantly, obviously, against these files coming out. He's done everything and anything, and so is the administration, lying to try to protect him, because we know he's all over the files. But you don't think necessarily there was anything criminal, and it just makes him look bad? Is that kind of your take on this whole thing?
I mean, I feel like there was something criminal. I feel like somebody would have pursued it. That would be my take, yeah. When it comes to trafficking, it's probably so many layers removed, because you would have to prove intent at different stages that somebody knowingly was transferring somebody to knowingly be a sex underage, slave or whatever. Like, it'd probably be really, really hard to prove all that,
Yeah. Before I get to this meeting earlier today with the Saudi prince, which was just unbelievably unfortunate and just despicable, I do want to ask you about him calling a reporter again Miss Piggy yesterday. It's like, I have a bone to pick with Tim Pool and others who don't seem like this is a big deal when the president attacks women, attacks journalists, really attacks anybody he disagrees with, and calling a reporter Miss Piggy. And the right-wing media don't seem to have a problem with that. I say this all the time, Destiny. Imagine if Joe Biden or Barack Obama talked to a reporter from Fox News they didn't like that. They'd be leading with it for weeks. And it just seems like the right, they just ignore it. He called a reporter Miss Piggy yesterday for asking what I thought was a very legitimate question.
Yeah, I mean, today I watched him go off on an ABC reporter saying that, ABC needs to have its license pulled because she asked a question. And I'm curious where all of those defenders before were saying, well, Trump didn't actually go to the FCC chairman and tell him to pull the affiliates from, Jimmy Kimmel's show and all. He didn't actually say it. He didn't actually do it. And here Trump just does it openly on, TV. There is no... It's a joke. Like, there's no consistency here. This is just a team sports game for MAGA, like more so than any other group I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like in retrospect, how funny is it that I think his lifetime earnings with Burisma was like $5 million. Hunter Biden's was. No foul play was ever proven there for anything. And the guy that initially informed on him to the FBI admitted to the FBI he made all of it up. That guy's, convicted now of lying. Yeah. And then Trump, meanwhile, is doing billions of dollars of business all over the world, is openly on camera talking to, what was it, the leader of Indonesia, saying that he can arrange a meeting between him and Eric. It was just like, it's a joke. They don't care about any of it. The frustrating part is going to be in like 3 years when they all pretend that they were always against it. And then they spoke out against Trump too, and none of them did. Yeah,
none of them. No backbone at all. Let's talk a little bit about this meeting this morning where, you mentioned the ABC reporter who I thought did a great job and asked very prevalent questions about Epstein and about the Khashoggi murder, because we know who this Saudi prince is and we know who they stand with and that murder, which was horrible. And yet Donald Trump is again coddling another evil man, just like he does with Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un when asked about the Otto Warmbier stuff. What did you make of this horrible, and I thought it was another embarrassing meeting with a horrible person? This comes a week after, as you know, he invited a former Al-Qaeda leader in the White House. I mean, what do you make of this? This is not America first.
I mean, what do I make of the United States president, the country that's supposed to be the shining beacon on the hill of democracy, an example to the rest of the free world, when our leader basically signs off on the assassination of a journalist because people knew he was a bad guy? The biggest challenge, in my opinion, in doing politics from the center left right now is to not say things that will get me arrested when I listen to Trump speak. So I don't have words. That's just an unbelievable statement. Yeah. One of the things that I've said before, I don't know if I've told you this, that you have to think of like, don't ask the Trumples, don't ask them like, would it, you don't ask them like, do you think Trump will do this? Or do you think Trump will do this in the future? You ask them, would they defend it? And I think they would. I almost think Trump could order the assassination of a journalist. And I feel like 40% of MAGA would almost be on board with it. Yeah. That's just, it's unacceptable in so many different levels, but I feel like I've said this for years. I don't even know. Yeah.
You made national news and you took a lot of flack on Piers Morgan because you're asked about obviously the murder of Charlie Kirk. And I totally understand where you're coming from. And you said, why should I have to call out? I'm kind of paraphrasing what you said. Correct me if I'm wrong, but why should we have to apologize for, an attack on Charlie Kirk? And when Donald Trump doesn't call out any of the political violence on the right, and you took so much slack for that, I totally understand where you're coming from. Obviously, I know you don't want political violence on either side of the aisle. I know that about you.
Sure. And also to be clear, or sorry, finish your question. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, to be clear, it's not that you personally know that. I've said that publicly too. I think I actually even said it twice on that Piers Morgan show. I go out and I do these events. I don't want to get killed, right? I don't think political. It's not good. We're killing each other in the United States, and we have been quite a bit over the past half decade. We've been engaged in political violence, like killing political leaders from politically motivated individuals. It's not good. It's crazy. It's insane. But it's more insane to me that it's impossible on the right for them to just tell their president to say, hey, all of us should calm down. That's insane to me. And to be paraded around as a liberal when every single lawmaker, every single left-leaning liberal talking head is all saying violence is bad. We all need to bring down the violence. We need to stop. To be like, do you disavow violence? And meanwhile, Donald Trump is basically cheering it on. It's unacceptable. It's an inhuman behavior, in my opinion.
But your point is well taken, because you never hear the right. How many of them apologized about what took place on January 6th? I mean, some of them were calling it a tourist visit. The Marjorie Taylor Greens and others of the world. Donald Trump pardoned some of those people who beat police officers with their own batons, called them hostages and patriots. We didn't hear a lot of apologies from the right. They don't want to call it an insurrection. If the left did that, the left would still be apologizing about it today. Why? I mean, there's so many double standards, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but yet people seem to be bashing you I'm not celebrating the life of Charlie Kirk. That doesn't mean I'm celebrating the murder. And people seem to conflate the two, right, Destiny?
They seem to. They're not. It's just political games. Because if it happened, in the other way, they would immediately have, a different explanation for it. And the MAGA movement, I've said this before. I kind of joked in the past that the conspiracy theories of older movements made sense. Like Israel doing 9/11 makes sense from a conspiracy standpoint, right? Okay, Israel wants to make us go to war in the Middle East, and the Jews are going to blah, blah, blah. Sure, it makes sense. But when you look at the conspiracy theories that exist today, they're just nonsense, right? So now we're up to, I don't know what number we were at the last time we spoke, but now we're up to 30 million illegal immigrants came in illegally when Biden was president. So 30 million over 4 years. I think the actual number is 2.7 or something. But 30 million came in over 4 years. Apparently, they all rode on cows, which brought diseases with them, which is why our domestic agriculture has been hurt, according to Besant. But not only did these 30 million illegals come over here, and not only did our unemployment rate remain at 4.5%, all of them also somehow had the money to buy homes, and they forced everybody to their homes too. So, and they're also getting loans for homes. It's all of it is so contradictory and self-defeating, and it's just so stupid. And it's not serious. It's very unserious. It's a very unserious conversation.
Speaking of stupid, Destiny, I don't understand the obsession with those on the right when it comes to trans people. You see the right-wing Twitter all the time. You see these people on the right, Benny and all these other morons that are now obsessing that Crooks, the guy who attempted to kill Donald Trump. Oh, well, he identified a different term. He wasn't he identified as a she or whatever the hell they're obsessing over about. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you obsessed over trans? They do the same thing with the Charlie Kirk murder. Oh, well, Tyler Robinson had a boyfriend or a girlfriend that was trans. And I say to myself, we've had 1,100 mass shootings in the last couple of years. You know this. And a sliver of that, maybe 7 or 8 of them were done by trans people. Why is the right so obsessed over trans people? And after there's a mass shooting, they seem to obsess over it. I just don't understand it. Yesterday, that's what Republicans were talking about. They weren't talking about Epstein. They certainly weren't talking about healthcare and food stamps being taken away from millions. They were obsessing over this guy Crooks, who, by the way, is dead, that he might have identified with different pronouns. Destiny, I don't understand their obsession.
Yeah, and I want to be very careful here because I haven't read the reporting on that, mainly because I saw Jack Posobiec promoting it, who is an insane person to me, so I almost believe the opposite.
He is.
I don't know if you've read this or not, but my understanding, I say understanding because I read 3 tweets on this. Somebody said that the reason why they thought he was trans is because he had a DeviantArt profile and the pronouns were they, them. But I heard people saying that when you create a profile, if you don't change your pronouns, they just default to they, them. It doesn't mean you're actually trans or whatever. Did you read anything about this? Do you know?
I read that as well. It's total nonsense by Jack Posobiec. By the way, the same guy who started the Pizzagate scandal. That's how he became famous, who put lives in jeopardy. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there's any.
Also isn't he the author of the book? What is it called? Subhumans or Inhumans or whatever? About how liberals are all secret communists or whatever. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
He's a complete fraud. But here's the thing, Destiny. Fox News is leading with this stuff. Jesse Waters is talking about it yesterday as if it's a real story. And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Destiny, this was true. What the hell does it matter? What does it matter if he was trans or not? I don't understand the what are they saying? Everybody that's trans is mentally ill, right? That's what a lot of these people on the right say, which I think, by the way, is absurd. But what are they trying to do by they just enjoy attacking transgenders? I don't understand why this is even prevalent to the Charlie Kirk stuff. Yeah, Charlie Kirk did not like transgenders. He was anti-trans. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. And
I think it's because Democrats somehow got bamboozled into staking out an unpopular position on it, especially related to the trans athlete stuff. And since conservatives identified that as one cultural issue that they could push on and win, they just decided to basically stake out their entire campaign on trans issues. Literally, that's everything. That's Trump could be standing in DC, giving a speech comforting the nation as nuclear missiles are heading towards us, knowing that we're all about to die, saying well, at least we got rid of transgender for everyone. And then the bombs explode and we all, die. And it's that's the one issue that conservatives love to obsessively harp on over and over again. And then the goal obviously is if somebody's trans, they must be left wing. So if they can paint them all as trans, then they can also paint them all as left wingers. But there are really great clips. I don't know if I've ever showed you or sent you, probably not personally these before, but like Megyn Kelly talking on a show, The Fifth Column, I think. When I say things, Republicans understand everything that I say because they do it. They understand that you can never apologize. You can never show weakness. You can never disavow your side. You always have to do everything you can to avoid responsibility, to push shooters on the other side. And that's how they act all the time. And then if anybody on the left even seems to do that or calls out that game, then they jump that person. But they know that it's a good strategy because they do it effectively. Because let's say every shooter was trans. So how easy would it still be to say, like, yeah, even if they were trans, nobody should do political violence? That should be a really easy thing to say, even if none of the shooters are yours.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I always wanted to ask you this because I think for the most part, you're one of the top 5 or top 10 most popular people covering politics on social media. And I don't believe you've ever said anything to get clicks or to make money. I genuinely believe everything you say, you mean. But what do you make of so many on the right that even Marjorie Taylor Greene is accused of getting paid by the Trump administration to spew propaganda? We know that whole Russian thing that involved Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and others. I feel like a lot of these people don't actually mean what they say, Destiny. I don't think Jack Posobiec means what he says. I don't think Benny Johnson always believes the things that he say. Do you get that sense with these people that a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them say things just to get clicks and make money?
There's some fancy abbreviation that I don't know if it's the NSA or CIA or somebody has when they analyze like the Russian propaganda model. You can identify there are different vectors that you can work through to get people to do propaganda for you. Some are financially motivated, some are ideologically motivated, others can be motivated by other things. I think that when you look at, if you want to have like a real view of politics, you need to be able to look at people and understand why are they saying the things that they're saying, like what is the purpose, what are they trying to get. It's like when I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene right now, I something I've said for a while is that Trump is a cult leader. Trump is a narcissist, and that's it. So there are no political people that he's appointed to reign in his stead. So Trump is not trying to make a king. He's not trying to help the party. He doesn't care about anyone himself. So once Trump is gone, the Republican Party is going to be scrambling for who the new leader is and to fill that vacuum. And I feel like people, I don't know when they're going to start jumping ship. I think my prediction was midterms a while ago, because after midterms, then that's it, that, Trump's not relevant anymore. And people are going to try to fill that void. I don't know if Marjorie is trying to stake that position out earlier than others. She has, in my opinion, a lot of political capital, and maybe she could do it. So when I view, I get very annoyed because sometimes I feel like people on the center left, the far left, I've written all these people off, whatever, but far left people are crazy. But some people even on the center left look at what Marjorie's saying and they're like, oh my gosh, she's actually coming around. She's being reasonable. It's like, no, nonsense. She's vying for political power and she's trying to stake out an independent position from Trump. Yep. And that's why she's pointing out the bad things he's doing, not because she has some principled position on anything. If Trump were to take her back under her wing and they were cool, she would go back to everything immediately again, Yeah.
She didn't seem to have a problem with Mike Pence getting the death threats. She didn't seem to have a problem with all these people on the right that didn't agree with Trump, and they did the same thing to them as they're doing to Marjorie now. So I couldn't agree with you more. I don't feel bad for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's a phony, and all of a sudden now she wants to play victim. Well, guess what? I think it's too late. Last question I wanted to ask you, Destiny, is that, as you become more and more popular, and you're a household name now, of course, you get more attacks from trolls, even death threats, and people that want to talk about your personal relationships in the past. I mean, I'm not at your level, surely, with the following that you have. But, as I've become a little bit more popular, I've started to have to deal with nonsense like that, too, the things that people say about me. I'm wondering how you deal with that personally, like in your personal time. Does that bother you at all? Do you just ignore it when people are talking about your family or past relationships, really personal stuff that I'm sure a lot of it is untrue? How do you deal with that personally? Do you let it get to you? How do you deal with that?
My goal is set to make such a splash interpersonally that someday I end up in some of these Substacks or blogs. So, working my way there. I don't know if you saw that one recently about the congressman and the Olivia, whatever. So, hey, make a good story, make it interesting to read. I want to have a fun autobiography at some point, or a biography I get assassinated. So fuck it. Yeah, screw it.
That would be fascinating. By the way, I really enjoyed that debate you did, the abortion debate you did in California. I think I was second up to bat. If you weren't able to do it, I was going to do it. But I thought you did a wonderful job. And it seemed like it was a really good conversation. Respectful, right?
Yeah, a little short, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did a really good job there. All right, well, I'll let you get back to it, Destiny. Always appreciate what you do, and I certainly always appreciate it when you take the time to join me on the show. We'll see you in Phoenix, my friend, right?
Yeah, I'll see you there.
All right, see you there, Destiny. Thanks again for the time, man. Appreciate you.
Bye.
There you go, everybody. Destiny. Also, by the way, his name is Steven. We can call him Steven, but I like to call him Destiny. Yeah, he's extremely popular. I mean, he's been very popular for a very long time. I would say he's probably one of the most popular streamers on the planet. And I think there's a reason for that. Most of the time, I agree with Destiny. I would say 99% of the time. I totally understand where he was coming from. He took a lot of flack because he said, why should I have to denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk when Donald Trump doesn't denounce blah, 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 blah. I totally understand his point. But I can tell you that I know Destiny, okay, spending a little bit of time around him. He is a very compassionate guy. He doesn't want anybody to be murdered. But stop asking us to denounce stuff, which, by the way, I've denounced pretty much every day since it happened, what took place with Charlie Kirk. Stop asking us to denounce when you guys don't denounce anything. I totally understand where Destiny is coming from. How many people denounced what took place on January 6th? Heck, your leader called them hostages and patriots, people who beat cops. Some of those police officers have traumatic brain injury. Why do we have to denounce everything when your Sir Turd orange leader will not denounce anything? I totally understand where Destiny was coming from there, and he took so much crap because of it, and I thought it was so absurd. So we're going to take a break, and then I'm going to play some audio and take some calls, but those are two of some of my favorite guests that we just had in the first hour. Ron Filipkowski, I just think the man is brilliant. The way he covers politics, he's so good at what he does. And obviously, there's a reason why Destiny has the following that he has. He's very, very good at what he does. Those are two extremely off-the-charts intelligent people. Smarter than me, that's for sure. And that's why they're so good at what they do. They're extremely smart and eloquent in what they say and what they do. And we love having not only Destiny, but, of course, Ron Filipkowski joining us every week. Yes, I'm going to be in Phoenix for the M-Fest. I am planning on going out there with the UNF America tour. Literally everybody on the far right is going to be out there. So, I'm going to get some funny video and footage. And the Brian Shapiro you saw at the Comedy Club with Tim Pool and Myron Gaines is the Brian Shapiro you're going to see in Phoenix. I will not hold back. Okay. All the right-wing lunatics will be there. Oh, including Donald Trump. And that's why I will be there with the UNF America tour. And Destiny. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be, what's the date today? It's going to be in about a month. I think it's like December 20th or something. So that is going to be fun. All right, here's what we're going to do. So I do have some audio that I want to play for you. And when we come back, we're going to play it for you. First of all, Donald Trump, let's put it this way. I have a bone to pick with Tim Pool. So we are going to dissect that when we come back. I'm going to tell you what Tim Pool said. I completely disagree with him. And I was texting him today. Also, I thought with the Saudi prince, the presser today was absolutely, positively one of the most embarrassing moments. And there's plenty of them in Donald Trump's presidency this go around. But we're going to play that for you as well. And then we will take your phone calls. So we have a lot to get to here in hour number 2. My thanks to Destiny and Ron Filipkowski for joining us. Man, I love those guys. I think they're great. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at
ETCHELL.com. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram, and I will be happy to be in touch and figure out what you're looking for and how I can support you in getting there.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a very busy news day on a Tuesday. I can't wait to take phone calls. I always can't wait to take calls. We got some big guests lined up for you. Ryan Shedd, who's another guy who's one of the biggest left-wing social media people and podcasters. He's a personal friend of mine. He's going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. He's in town for the F1 races. So Ryan's going to be my co-host tomorrow. Leonard Cardinal is going to be my co-host Thursday. And then here's a guy who's criticized me a lot on social media. His name is Warren Smith. He's actually a nice guy, and he's got a huge social media platform. I think he's got like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's criticized me a lot on social media. He's agreed to have an all-out duke it out debate with me on Friday. So he's a right-winger. He's a Trumper. So that's going to be a lot of fun also. So certainly we are stacked for the rest of the week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. No question about that. So I have some YouTube super chats that I want to get to, and your questions and comments can be heard with a donation on the YouTube super chat. So any of your questions or comments, and you could also, of course, go to my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. Mama Lisa with a donation says, "Hi, Brian. Mama's here." Thanks, Mama. I appreciate that. Brian Hines says, "Federal panel just blocked Texas gerrymandered maps. Idiots will ask, what about California? They allowed their citizens to vote on it. Dance harder, puppets. Texas rising." So thank you for your donation, Brian. And anybody else, if you want to get involved, we'll read your questions or comments live on the air. All right. So I have a bone to pick with Tim Pool. As you know, or may not know, Donald Trump called another female journalist Miss Piggy yesterday. Now, I find it to be repugnant and absolutely despicable. But Tim Pool thinks it's totally fine. I want you to listen to this clip of Tim playing the clip and then saying that everything is all good. Have a listen to this.
Quiet, piggy. So Donald Trump said to a journalist, he said, "Quiet, piggy," because she was asking him questions, not letting him finish. And it's a slow news day, but it's a fun news day, I got to say. So I hope you're thoroughly entertained as I will now play for you this clip of Donald Trump calling a journalist a piggy. And everybody's tweeting like, did he just call her a piggy? Yeah, apparently it was over the Epstein files, for which Trump has already said should be released. This whole cycle on Epstein has been weird. I can't put a pattern together. And I pride myself on being able to find patterns in things. But hey, it is what it is. Let me play the clip for you in question, and I hope it brings a smile to your face.
You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Go ahead.
Incriminating in the file, Venezuela, sir.
Quiet.
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings.
This is our news day today. I know that there's more news, but this is the big one in the trending section of X and on Google, and everyone's asking, did Donald Trump call a journalist a piggy? Now, the question I have for you guys is appropriate? Is this appropriate for a president? I say yes. It's not that big a deal. It's funny, and we laugh about it. I think it's particularly funny that many people are acting like it's the apocalypse that he called this journalist a piggy.
Completely disagree with Tim Pool. First of all, I'm not saying it's the apocalypse. I think there are far worse things that Donald Trump has said and Donald Trump has done. When you are the president of the United States, you have a responsibility. And in my personal opinion, if Joe Biden or Barack Obama had called a right-wing journalist Miss Piggy, I don't think Tim Pool would have been okay with it. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think a lot of people on the right would be okay with that. You are supposed to be a role model. You are supposed to be a leader. And the president's words matter. What type of example are you setting to not just children, but to the country when an adult doesn't like a question from a journalist and name calls and calls her Miss Piggy? It is not okay. I don't think it's funny at all. We're not talking about a late night show here. We're not talking about a comedian. We're talking about the leader of the free world and the president of the United States. And not only that, but it was completely unwarranted. I'm not saying it should ever be okay for the president to call anybody a name like that. It's beneath the presidency. But what did that journalist even do wrong? She did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing. It's insane. And I have a serious problem with any president attacking people, especially a female journalist who did absolutely nothing wrong. Now, it would be one thing if the question was targeted and attacking you or calling you a name, then say, wow, that's beyond unprofessional what you said, and then move on to another question. But to call somebody Miss Piggy, this obviously isn't the first time he's attacked a female journalist. For anybody like Tim, and I disagree with Tim, to say that this is funny, there's nothing funny about this. I'm embarrassed. The world is laughing at us. You think it's appropriate and you're totally okay with the president of the United States name-calling people like a second grader? No, there's nothing funny about that. It's embarrassing. And it's beneath the presidency. You can disagree with policy. There are plenty of journalists that I'm sure many people on the left didn't like, but they still answered questions. And worst case scenario, next question. I'm not answering that question. Next question. But to call somebody Miss Piggy, it's so beneath the presidency, and it's so awful, and it's not the apocalypse, okay? No, the apocalypse is when you take 20 million Americans off of Medicare coverage and you take millions of Americans off of food stamps, when you give the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% this year, $100 billion, okay? That's the apocalypse, in my personal opinion. Or when you invite former al-Qaeda leaders to the White House and coddle them. When you invite the Saudi prince to the White House and take his side when it comes to the Khashoggi murder. The same thing he did with Kim Jong-un when it came to Otto Warmbier. Oh, he told me he had nothing to do with it. I believe him. That's the apocalypse. Because there's nothing worse that a president can do in the United States of America than coddle to an evil, murderous dictator. And those are murderers. Kim Jong-un is a murderer. Vladimir Putin is a murderer. Viktor Orban is a murderer. Assad was a murderer. And yes, the prince that he invited in the White House today is part of the murderous regime. Now, that's the apocalypse. I don't think it gets much worse than that. But calling a journalist Miss Piggy should never be okay. It's not funny, not when you're the president of the United States. It's different if you're a late-night talk show host. It's different if you're at the water cooler. You're the president of the United States. You're supposed to show decorum. You're supposed to show professionalism. You're supposed to show leadership. And he has shown none of those. And speaking of reporters that Donald Trump has attacked, particularly female reporters, you have a reporter from ABC, who I actually think asked some really good questions and did a really good job. So she asked at the press conference with the Saudi prince, do you think it's appropriate doing family business with them? And obviously our own intelligence concluded that they orchestrated the murder of a journalist. And I want you to listen to Donald Trump dodge and defend MBS. Have a listen to this.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's just he asked, Mr. President.
What? What did he just say? Was he saying controversial, almost defending the murder of Khashoggi? They cut him up into pieces. Did you hear what Donald Trump just said? Don't be disrespectful. He was a controversial figure, almost defending the torture and the murder of this journalist, Khashoggi. That's exactly what Donald Trump was doing with the murderer, enabler, sitting right next to him. Does it get any worse than that? Maybe it does. Because now, in this clip I'm about to play for you, Donald Trump says he's proud of the job this murderer enabler has done. He calls him incredible in terms of human rights. That's right, I'm not making this up. Listen to this.
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. And he's the crown prince, the future king, and I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, the king, who is an amazing man. I met him early on. He greeted me at the airport at an age that was pretty high up there, and it was about 117 degrees, and he was standing on the red carpet as I came out of the plane, and he's amazing. And when I met his brilliant son, it was at the Oval Office. Shortly thereafter, and you came in representing the country, and I called the father. I said, this guy is fantastic. And I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, but obviously it couldn't have hurt too much, because here you are, right?
An incredible job in terms of human rights, he says to MBS. A man who was, at least at a minimum, partially responsible for the murder of an innocent journalist named Khashoggi, who was tortured and murdered and cut into pieces, helped orchestrated by MBS and his evil, murderous regime. And Donald Trump is sitting right next to him on American soil in the White House, defending him the same way he has always defended Vladimir Putin, the same way he's always defended Kim Jong-un. Well, he tells me he had nothing to do with the Otto Warmbier murder, attack. Otto Warmbier coming back to the United States of America as basically a vegetable. And Donald Trump said, well, he told me, how do you think Otto's family felt about that? What about Khashoggi's family? This man was tortured and murdered. And that guy that was sitting right next to him in the White House played a large role in this murder. And Donald Trump is praising him, not only praising him, but praising him in terms of human rights. How could anybody in this country defend that? It gets me so angry. How could anybody in this country defend that? And then we move on to the Epstein files, where he was asked once again today. A reporter asked the president, why don't you just release the Epstein files? Why not just do it right now? And here's the mob boss once again attacking a female reporter for her quote-unquote attitude for asking what is a very prevalent question. By the way, any reporter that holds Donald Trump to account, any reporter that asked him a question that he doesn't want to answer, he asks, oh, where are you from? And then goes on the attack because he's a coward. He does this every single time. Here's another example of it here.
Is that pretty good?
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. but he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's is your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something. I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all.
You know, it's interesting because I didn't hear Donald Trump answer the question. If your claim is that Bill Clinton and Democrats are all over the Epstein files, then why would you wait for Congress to release them when you have the authority to release them yourselves? Notice how he didn't answer that question? The mob boss attacking another female reporter and then asking the FCC commissioner to look into revoking her company's broadcast license. For what? What did she do wrong? Because she asked a very prevalent question about why you won't release the Epstein files, you scumbag, because we know you're all over the Epstein files, you scum. So because you don't like the question and you don't want people talking about the Epstein files, you're going to try to take her broadcast license away or her company's broadcast license away, you dictator, scumbag, piece of human garbage. You 34-count felon, liable, sexual abusing piece of human excrement is what you are. I'm so sick of this guy. I have had it. I have had it. So we're going to take your phone calls at 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Certainly there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot on the table today. And we're asking you, of course, your thoughts on the meeting this morning with the Saudi prince. Obviously, the Epstein vote, only one Republican voting no. Do you ever think that we'll see the light of day, at least when during the Trump presidency? We'll talk a little bit about that. And do you disagree with me? I think it's absolutely disgusting that he would call reporter Miss Piggy. And Tim Pool and others on the right don't think it's a big deal, but I guarantee you if Barack Obama or Joe Biden did that, they'd be talking about it 24/7. So I disagree with Tim Pool, and I disagree with a lot of people that think that this is okay. So I do talk a lot about healthcare on this show, as you know, and open enrollment is going through December 7th. Now's the time to get on the right healthcare coverage that you need and to save money. Now, I'm so glad to be teamed up with the good people at Chapter. They give you unbiased Medicare help, and the best part is it's free. On average, they save people around $1,100 a year, and if you're on the right plan, they'll tell you you're on the right plan. They're not trying to get you on another plan unless they think it could save you money. You see the number there on the bottom of your screen. Give them a call, 212-461-4078. There's also a URL on the bottom of the screen that you see there, askchapter.org/limits. Very glad to be teamed up with Chapter. Please give them a call. Tell them that I sent you completely free and unbiased help with Medicare coverage. All right, I promised we would get to the phone lines at 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's start off with Matthew. Matthew is first up on PTL. What's up, Matthew?
Hey, how you doing today, Brian?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
Real quick, I was just thinking, what if the possibility, what do you think will happen if they release the Epstein files, but they can tell that the files have been altered or forged in some kind of way to keep Trump's name out of there?
So, yeah.
What would happen if that would take place?
Unfortunately, on social media, they're saying they can't hear the caller, so maybe Numchuck can work on that. But I can hear you just fine. So I think that's a very strong possibility that could happen. They've had 40 days to try and, try to protect Donald Trump. So if the files are released, they're not going to do anything to put Donald Trump in harm's way. So I think that could happen. Obviously, Democrats will continue to scream, cover up, cover up, cover up. So I'm not sure here's the problem that we face. First of all, Democrats aren't controlling the House and the Senate, as you know. Pam Bondi is in charge. Kash Patel is in charge. And they can pretty much do almost whatever they want. But I can tell you this, there are people that will be able to tell us whether his name has been redacted or not. So it'll only make Donald Trump look more guilty. But that I don't think legally there's much that Democrats will be able to do about it, except we can talk about it. And and say the cover up continues. I actually don't even think that's going to happen, sir. What I think is actually going to happen is I think that Pam Bondi is going to open up a new investigation. Donald Trump is going to claim, oh, well, we want to do this justice for the victims, and it's going to go on for 2 or 3 years, and we'll never see it so long as Donald Trump is president. That's what I think.
Yes, sir.
That's
okay,
what I think.
Mr. Bryan, thank you for taking my call, sir.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon is next up on PTL. Hello, Brandon.
Ryan, buddy, how are you?
What's up, Brandon? What's on your mind?
You know, I heard you ranting and raving about Donald Trump talking to the reporter on the plane. And, you know, I think you're overreacting. I mean, come on, they can't call him this. He can't call her Piggy one time. I mean, look what they've been doing for the last almost decade.
Yeah. So, Brandon, I don't know.
Look, all the lies, all the conspiracies.
Okay, hold on.
Constant coverage. I mean, come on, they can't.
Okay, so Brandon, hold on. You're saying a lot there. Let's just focus on your original thought, if that's okay, with the Miss Piggy comment. First of all, you said one time. This isn't the first time that Donald Trump has done this. It's not the second time, and it's not the third time. He has a history.
Well,
hold on. I'm just answering your question. So to be factually accurate, this isn't a one-time deal. Donald Trump has done this for years, especially over the course of the last 9 years when he went into public office. He has attacked women on looks. He has attacked Gold Star families. He's attacked POWs. He's attacked women of color. And he certainly has attacked female reporters. And this isn't even the first time he's called them Miss Piggy. So you're factually inaccurate, with respect, sir, when you say that this is the first time. Number two, to answer the question of the Miss Piggy statement in general, when you're the president of the United States, you're not a second grader. You're not somebody at the water cooler. Heck, you're not me, and you're not you. You are the president of the United States, and there are things that are beneath the presidency. You shouldn't be name calling. You shouldn't be using second grade insults. You shouldn't have nicknames for people. And I ask you a question now. We can disagree on that. What did that reporter do wrong to be insulted?
I don't think he did anything wrong.
Thank you. So why would you defend it then? I agree with you, sir. I don't think the reporter. Okay, so nobody has to do anything wrong.
I thought it was funny.
Hold on. Okay, so you thought it was funny. So you agree that the reporter, you agree, Brandon. We agree. The reporter didn't do anything wrong. And you're totally okay with the president of the United States in general, if he doesn't like a question from a reporter, to name call and use second grade insults as the leader of the free world. You're okay with that?
It's comic relief. Yes, it's comic relief.
It's comic relief. So you think part of the presidency is to make people laugh and make jokes and insult people? You think that's a part of the
Absolutely.
So that's a prerequisite. You wouldn't want a president that was serious, that was respectful towards all journalists, and that answers questions honestly. It's more important for you to get a laugh and the president of the United States in comic relief. That's more important to you.
Well, you gotta have some personality in there. I love the way Donald Trump.
Okay, so you can't have personality without insulting women?
Just anybody. I mean, the media is so hostile for them, and they've been lying about them for the last 10 years. I mean,
what have they been lying? What are the lies? What are the lies?
Okay, the Russia collusion.
There was. Hold on, one at a time. Hold on, one at a time. With respect, Brandon, I'm happy to go through it with you. One at a time. You said Russian collusion. What did our CIA and FBI say about Russia colluding in the elections? Did they say there was no Russian collusion? What did they say?
They said there was no obstruction,
not
no
true.
collusion.
So Russia didn't collude on social media and on Facebook. The CIA and the FBI said that there was zero Russian collusion. Sir, I can't have a conversation. I can't have a conversation. Okay, first of all, Russia did influence in our elections. That's number one. We know that for sure. Our own CIA and our own FBI proved that. So that's number one. Number two, let me ask you a question. Speaking of collusion, why do you think Donald Trump has never called Vladimir Putin an evil dictator? Why do you think Donald Trump has never sanctioned Russia? Why do you think Donald Trump rolls out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, but when Vladimir Zelensky comes to town, he calls him a dictator, claims that Ukraine started the war? Why do you think that is? Do you think Donald Trump just wants to be nice to Vladimir Putin? Or do you think maybe Putin might have something on Trump? Sir, give me an educated guess on that, please.
Well, Vladimir Putin came into the White House with a lot better attitude. Zelensky just
I didn't ask you about an attitude. I didn't ask you about an attitude. Focus on my question. Why do you think Donald Trump rolls out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, praises him constantly, calls him smart, brilliant? Why do you think he does that to an evil, murderous dictator in Putin, who we know started this war in Ukraine? And then when somebody like Vladimir Zelensky comes to the White House, they attack him. They attack him for what he's wearing. Donald Trump said that Ukraine started the war. Ukraine. Let me finish. There's more important things. He says that Ukraine started the war.
The hat you wear every day.
He said he complained. I really don't care what you think about my appearance, sir. Okay, focus. You're not focusing. Answer my question. Why does he coddle Vladimir Putin? Just to be nice? Or you think maybe Vladimir Putin and Russia might have something on Trump? Give me an educated guess, sir, and please try to answer.
I think it's just out of respect. You respect your
so it's very okay. So it's very important out of respect. Let's go with that for a moment. So by your standards, Brandon, it's very important for the president of the United States to show respect for an evil, murderous dictator that is responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. But you have no problem with Donald Trump disrespecting an American journalist and calling her Miss Piggy for what we both agree on. She didn't do anything wrong. I just want to understand. You want Donald Trump, the president of the United States, to respect evil, murderous dictators. But when it comes to one of our own journalists, you're totally okay with name calling. It's a good thing you're very consistent, Brandon. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
I'm saying the media can take it. I mean, they've been so awful to him. So if you want,
We've established that you're okay with Donald Trump praising and showing the utmost respect for an evil, murderous dictator who just started a war. But you're totally okay with that. But you want respect for evil dictators. But when it comes to our own journalist, he can disrespect them. Ridiculous. Give me another lie because you failed on that one. What are the lies of Donald Trump?
Let's talk about the insurrection. The media.
Okay. What's the lie? What's the lie about the insurrection? Tell me. Be specific.
There was no insurrection. That was the biggest lie.
Okay. So what was it? Then what was it? What was it?
For the protests that got a little rowdy here.
Would you consider a little rowdy beating police officers, over 140 officers?
Oh, that's unacceptable.
Oh, unacceptable. So is that a little rowdy? You just described January 6th as, quote, a little rowdy. Would you describe it a little rowdy when people beat cops with their own batons and cops are sent to the hospital and people die that day?
Despicable.
Okay, so don't say it's a little rowdy. Call it for what it is, and I agree. Let's call it despicable, and let's agree on that. Okay, so give me a lie. You've agreed that it's despicable. It wasn't a little rowdy. It was despicable. I agree with you. What is the lie on January 6th? Please tell me. Now, I know you don't want to talk about
the media is calling it an insurrection.
I don't care. Okay, so first of all,
there was none of that.
It doesn't matter whether you label it an insurrection, which I believe it was.
The media did.
Okay, it doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it despicable, horrific. It wasn't a little rowdy. It was a violent riot. I don't care whether you call it a violent riot or an insurrection. What do you care? By the way, what were they there for? What were they trying to do?
They were showing their support for the great president.
No, they weren't. They were not showing their support for so they were showing their support by chanting "Hang Mike Pence." You think showing your support to the country?
Not all of them were doing that.
Not all of them, but some of them were. The people that stormed the Capitol.
I know a guy that was there.
What were they? I don't care. What a shocker! You're friends with people like that. What were they there for? They weren't there for support. Why were they there? Please answer the question.
To peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard, like Donald Trump.
So you think the way to peacefully make your voice heard is to storm the Capitol and beat police officers and desecrate on Nancy Pelosi's desk and destruction of property? You would call that peaceful?
Well, that's not very cool.
Oh, that's not. No, it's not that. It's why were they there? Why were they there? Why won't you answer the most basic of questions? Okay, let me ask it another way.
They were there to protest the stolen election.
Why were they angry at Mike Pence?
Because he didn't have the courage to overturn the election.
First of all, what would be the basis of the law? See, that's exactly what I'm trying to get to. They wanted Mike Pence to overturn what was a free and fair election. That is why we call it an insurrection. And by the way, they delayed the vote because of January 6th. You just made my point for me. All of those idiots, and whoever your friend is, I'm sure is a moron, by the way, all of those people that were there that day wanted to overthrow a free and fair election. You just admitted that yourself, and I'm not sure you're smart enough, sir, with respect to understand.
The election was fishy.
Okay, I don't care what your opinions are on the election. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud, and I'm
How
not
does
going to.
Biden get
I'm not
more
going
votes than
to.
Barack
I'm not
Obama?
going to, sir. I am not going to waste my time by having a conversation with you on what you think happened in the 2020 election. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud, and it's a waste of time. Now, you just
Look at the
admitted.
numbers.
I
They
don't.
correlate.
Like I said, I'm not going to have a conversation because it's so stupid. The Earth isn't flat, and Donald Trump didn't win in 2020. Not going there with you. You just admitted to me they were there not to support. That's BS. They were there because they wanted Mike Pence to quote unquote do the right thing, which is, by the way, the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What that means is they didn't like the outcome. I don't care what your opinion is on that. You're not understanding the point of this call. And why it's called an insurrection. Okay. The reason why is because there were 1,500 to 2,000 people that stormed the Capitol, that broke the law, that wanted Mike Pence to change the outcome of a free and fair election. That is basically the definition of what an insurrection is. Now, listen.
They were led into the Capitol.
Now you can. Okay.
In.
First of all, again, you have no idea what you're talking about, and I'll prove you wrong once again. So there were 2 or 3 Capitol police officers that, quote, let people in. All of them testified. So let me ask you a question, since you have absolutely. Excuse me. Let me ask you a question that will prove you wrong once again, because you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. So let's just say for a moment that you're a Capitol police officer, which obviously you would never be, but let's just assume for a moment you are. You have a gun on you, which many of those Capitol police officers, my understanding, were armed. And you have 150 to 200 people, and you're one person, and you're guarding an entrance to the Capitol. What do? You have 2 choices. You either take out your gun and you start shooting people and killing people, or you let them in. What do you think the choices were there? Do you think I'm wrong? And what would you do?
Yeah, they were let in.
What would you do? I'm asking you. Would you
just
take
let them in? It's an open building.
So
anyone
now,
can go in
so
there.
first of all, it's not an open building. There are parts of the building, many of which they went in, that were not authorized for American citizens or any citizen to be in. So you're wrong there. Number 2.
Anyone can walk.
Number 2. No, not true.
Oh,
You cannot.
you know that.
No, not true. You couldn't walk into the House chambers. You can't walk into politicians' offices.
I've done it before.
Really? Oh, really? So you went into Nancy Pelosi's office? Really? When it was locked without their permission? You destruction of property?
No, this was many years ago.
Oh, many years ago. Okay, so I'm not going to.
It's an open building. You
Again,
go to
let's focus. Let's focus. You're wrong, but let's focus. Let's focus on. We've already been there. I'm not going there again with you. You just said that you were criticizing. You were criticizing a few officers for, quote, letting people in. I'm asking you the question again. If you're a police officer there, do you take out your gun and do you start shooting people, or do you let people in? What would be the appropriate thing to do there by most standards?
You let them in.
Okay, so stop. So stop. So stop criticizing those few officers for doing so. Now, I don't care.
I didn't. I said they were let into the building.
So we've just established that, and you don't know what you're talking about. So you said that there were lies. It is your opinion, which you're wrong, because I gave you the definition of what insurrection is. So you failed on that, quote unquote, lie.
No
so give me another lie. Give me another lie that you think was a lie.
Okay, let's talk about during his first term, during the early days of the pandemic. People are lying, saying that Trump told people to inject bleach. He never said that.
Okay, so what did he say? So what did he say?
He didn't say that. He was talking.
What did he say? What did he say?
I know exactly what he said, but I know he never.
What did he say? Tell me. Tell me. What did he say? You know what he said?
I don't have a quote in front
you don't have
of
the quote.
Video,
so you're saying, so you're claiming he didn't say something, yet you don't know what he said. Okay, that's very intelligent. Well, let me educate you, sir. He talked about the possibility of injecting yourself with disinfectant. He also talked about ultra rays that you would shine in your body, for lack of a better term, that could help get rid of you of the disease. Now, both of those things that he said are absolutely 100% not true, and there's no evidence to find that. And what did he say the next day? When he was asked about it, and you say, Mr. President, why did you talk about injecting yourself with disinfectant, which is exactly what he said. You know what his response was? Oh, I was just joking. Now, Donald Trump wasn't laughing when he said that. Nobody in the room was laughing. Dr. Birx wasn't laughing. You know why he said that, sir? Because he knew what he said was stupid.
You
knew it. Excuse me. The next day, he said he was joking sarcastically, just like when he's asked, why did you say you would end the war in 24 hours? Oh, I was just joking. I was being sarcastic. Because every single time Donald Trump says something stupid and he's caught and he doesn't have an excuse for why he says something, he says, I was just joking, and idiots like you believe it. So you're wrong there. Give me another lie. You keep failing. I'm enjoying this, sir. You keep failing. Give me another alleged lie. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Go ahead.
He takes up so much stuff about him all the time. No matter what he does, they find.
Give me another lie. Give me another one. Give me another one.
He would be saying, "Oh, he cured the wrong kind of cancer." It's like, come on,
He never
Brian.
cured cancer. That's not a lie. So give me another lie. You've been wrong with every single thing you've said, and I've proved you wrong with facts. Give me another example. You haven't given me. Hey, I got a lie for you. Guess what? Donald Trump didn't win the 2020 election. Hey, guess what? Inflation has been going up for the last 5 months, and the idiot that you voted for keeps saying that inflation keeps going down. He said the war. Let me ask you a question. Speaking of lies, did the war end in 24 hours in Ukraine, or is it still going on now?
It's going on because Zelensky wants it to go on.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what your reasoning is as to why the war is still going on. Who is the guy that said he would end the war in 24 hours? Who said that, sir?
That was an off-the-cuff remark.
Oh, off the cuff.
Trump.
So if it's a lie, your excuse.
It's like barbershop.
So excuse me.
That.
If it's a lie, your excuse is, quote, that was off the cuff. Oh, I see. But when you allege that Democrats lie, it's not off the cuff. I'm wondering, did Donald Trump say there was peace in the Middle East and there was a ceasefire? Is that true?
There was until Biden destabilized.
No, wrong. I'm talking about right now in the last month. I'm going to ask you the question again. Joe Biden is no longer president. Several weeks ago, Donald Trump said there's peace in the Middle East and there is a ceasefire deal. Did that ring true, or was that a lie?
Well, it fell through because we have.
I'm not asking you, sir. I'm not asking you why it fell through. That's not the question. Donald Trump said, and you could claim it was off the cuff again if you'd like to, sir. It's a wonderful excuse. Donald Trump 3 weeks ago on a world stage said, quote, there's peace in the Middle East. We have a ceasefire. Is that true? Yes or no? I don't care about your reasoning why, Mr. Off the Cuff. Please answer the question.
No, it's not true anymore.
Okay, thank you. So that's a lie. It wasn't true. It wasn't true back then. There wasn't peace 3 weeks ago, and there is not peace now. When he said all inflation is going down, he said that multiple times this week. Inflation has been going down. Is that true? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Was that a lie, or was that just off the cuff, sir?
Off the cuff.
Okay. So every single time Donald Trump lies, your excuse is off the cuff, and then you make up lies yourself about Democrats lying or people lying.
Here's another lie.
Sir, let me just say this. I'm going to hang up on you now because it's off the cuff. Have a nice day, you MAGA buffoon. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to John. John is next up on PTL. What's up, John? Go ahead, John. John, you got to lower your radio, my friend. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Hold on.
What's up, John? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm just hearing from Epstein's brother. It's all over the internet that they're going to mess with the files. In other words, they're going to cut all the Republican stuff out, leave Democrats in there.
Well, you know, I've had Mark on the show, as you know. I'm going to actually give Jeffrey Epstein's brother a text today, and we're going to try to get him back on because obviously this is back in the news for good. John, that wouldn't surprise me. They're going to do everything.
Surprise me.
Yeah. So
I'm honestly tired of Donald Trump, and I'm about ready to just shut the TV internet off every time I see him.
I don't blame you, sir. Unfortunately, it's my job, so I'm not able to do that. But
but
I can totally understand why you would want to do that. I really can. I hear you.
Hey, there's another guy that was out here messing with one of your pod guys. Is it Withers? Dean Withers?
Yeah, Dean is friends with. I'm not friends with Dean. I'm friends with Parker. I don't know Dean very well. I have met him in Vegas before, but I don't know him very well.
Well, somebody was harassing him a couple of something about kids, and
doesn't surprise me.
Turned it over to the authorities.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. I go on social media after I do Tim Pool's show, and people will call me a woman abuser and a rapist. I get it all. I get it all. You know, and listen, a few years ago when this show started to become popular and I had a national audience, that's when it started. I let it get to me 2 years ago, and I made a mistake. And I've learned to just not care anymore. You know what I'm focused on? Doing a show for people like you. I'm focused on doing an entertaining and informative show and just focused on my own life. And if people want to go on social media and attack me, it means I'm doing something right. If people want to lie about me, and that's what they are, just smears and lies.
Oh, they lie about themselves too.
No, I know.
They lie about
I know.
They say they're veterans, they Indians,
I
all
know.
that.
I know. Listen, sir, I'm with you, and I don't let it bother me anymore. And the reason why I don't let it bother me is because what I care about are what my family and friends think about me, not what some right-wing turds on social media care about me. They can say whatever they like. I really don't care. Let's see. Let's go to Tenora. Tenora is next.
Hi.
Hi, Tenora.
Brian?
Yes, go right ahead.
I just wanted to tell you, Brian, my name is Tenora from California.
Yep.
And I watch your show faithfully. I wanted you to know that I love you so much.
Oh, well, thank you, my dear. That means a lot.
I
Thank you.
appreciate this show so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I've been so depressed with how our political system has changed, and it's just, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
So when I watch you, you are a breath of fresh air, my dear.
Thank you. Well, I do the show because of people like you, and that means a lot. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
I would like to know what can I do to help keep this show going?
Oh, well, that is so nice of you, my dear. And I'm so glad you brought that up as my producer on the bottom puts up my website. Very, very, very nice job, Numchuck. Pushingthelimits.live. The best thing there's a couple things you could do for me. Number one is word of mouth. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people about this show, give them my YouTube page, and have them follow me. That's step number one, and that's free, and that's great. Word of mouth is great. Number two, if you go to my website, which is pushingthelimits.live, on the bottom of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube or on social media, there's a little icon there that says donate when you go to my page. Now, we're independently owned, meaning I own my own show. I don't have a boss. Nobody tells me what to do. You go there, you can make donations, whatever you can afford, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, maybe a one-time donation, whatever you can afford, we greatly appreciate. So pushingthelimits.live is where you can help support what I do. And we have so many people that are so generous. So yeah, those are two things you can do to really help keep this show going and keep it growing.
I am definitely going to do that as soon as I get off the phone.
That is sweet of you. Thank you.
One other thing I wanted to ask you about real quick.
Sure.
With this vote, with the Epstein thing, I'm worried. I'm worried at the way people, the legacy media, they're flipping this like Donald Trump has changed his mind all of a sudden, which is making me think that they're going to do something to take his name out of these files. And this thing is never going to end. Or more so with the investigation into Bill Clinton and all that. That's just going to be another way to keep the files from coming out. Tell me, what do you think about that?
So I completely agree with you. And by the way, thank you for your call and your very sweet comments. I appreciate your support. So as I've said, I do believe that one of two things are going to happen. Either they've redacted Donald Trump's name everywhere in protecting him over the course of the last 40 days, and they'll release everything and redact his name, or they'll open up a new investigation and Pam Bondi will come forward saying, we can't release the files now because it's an open investigation. One of those two things might happen, maybe both of them. I don't know, but that's what I think is going to happen here. Thank you, Immortal Suspects on the YouTube Super Chat, who says, that caller is the dumbest dude I've ever heard in my life. Another ill-informed MAGA clown. Yes, Brandon is not very intelligent, Immortal. I completely agree with you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Chad. Chad is next up on PTL. Hello, Chad.
Hey, Brian, I got three things I want to talk about.
Okay.
The first thing is they bring up the transgender thing to you, but they keep forgetting one of the most famous transgenders is on their side, Caitlyn Jenner.
Can you talk a little closer to your phone? You sound like you're on speakerphone because it's a little hard to hear you, and I want to make sure people can hear you. So go ahead.
I said, it's just children, they talk about transgenders being left.
Yeah.
One of the most famous transgenders is Caitlyn Jenner, and he's a Republican.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And
I don't know why their obsession with transgenders. All I can tell you is this. There's one party that is anti-gay. There's one party that's anti-transgender. There's one party that's anti-brown. They're called the Republican Party, and I can give you facts to back up those statements.
Yes. Okay. Second thing is these reporters. Why don't they just snap back? You're going to get in trouble anyway. Like you try to cut their license, trying to talking to them. Go ahead and just snap that look. Why are you scared?
A couple reasons for that. Number one, they'd be afraid of losing their job because unfortunately some of their bosses are MAGA Republicans. Number two, they'd be afraid of losing access to the president of the United States. And number three,
lose access anyway. Because didn't he say?
I think there is a way to push back without being rude, but I think some of these reporters are put in a very difficult position. And also keep in mind that the microphone is taken away from them after they ask their questions. So there's multiple reasons. I think one of the people that did a wonderful job is Jim Acosta back in the day. I thought when Trump pushed at him, he pushed back. And I thought Acosta was one of the very few that was very aggressive. Remember, they took his media credential away for a little bit. But listen, I hear what you're saying. I think there's a way to push back, but do it in a manner that is respectful, even though Donald Trump doesn't deserve the respect.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing is, shoot, I think I must have got to the wait so long, but
no, that's all right.
I'm sick of these racist Republicans. I'm sick of it. I wish we could just deport all of them. This world would be a better place without these races in the world.
Well, I completely agree with you. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, it's not like every person who voted for Donald Trump is a racist, but let's be very clear. Every racist voted for Donald Trump. As we go to the YouTube super chat, Hannah says, I'm with the last caller. You give me hope, and it means a lot in times like this. Well, thank you, Hannah, for that compliment. That's very nice of you, and I appreciate your support of the show. Thank you so much for that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Brian. Brian is next on PTL. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian, how you doing, man? Good. Talk to you again.
Good.
I was giving you that breaking news out of Texas in the super chat earlier. It was very exciting to me. But I wanted to ask you, it's not on topic, but I'm a everyday frequent listener and supporter of you. I just wanted to get your opinion on something.
Okay.
So when there's
sounds like, by the way, it sounds like you're making popcorn in your car right now. I don't know what that noise is, but go ahead.
No, I'm in my dually truck. I'm actually driving to work it. But hold on, I'll put you on.
No. You sound good now. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in my truck. I'm hauling cars right now.
Much better.
But I wanted to ask you because we had some conversations in the chat. You have some long-time listeners.
Yep.
Well, since I got wind of you, probably back like in January, February earlier this year.
Yep.
You've got some listeners that seem to be, or supporters that seem to be turning their backs on you. And it all just seems like it's very frivolous stuff.
Yeah.
He say, she say, he said this, he doesn't support that, he's leading you on here, he's taking advantage of your good yada 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 yada. Now, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. There's always going to be haters out there, and I was just talking about that a few minutes ago. I don't pay attention to that stuff. If people turn their back on me for whatever reason, I don't even want to know the reason. That's fine. I'll be just fine. Well, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you're such a noble man. You say that. But here's the thing. This is what I want to know. If you don't like him anymore, then why are you still here?
Some of my biggest haters, it's a very good question you asked. Some of my biggest haters are obsessed with me. They pleasure themselves to me every night with a big poster of me in their bedroom. Some of my biggest haters are literally obsessed with me. They tweet about me every day, nonstop. There are actual podcasts in this country that are dedicated to this show. All they do is talk about me because they're obsessed about me, and I grow on them like a fungus. They can't live without me. They're in the chat every day. They're literally closet PTL huge fans, and they're obsessed with me. So that's the best way I can answer that question, my friend. And I appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much. So it sounds like he's making popcorn in there. I'm actually in the mood for popcorn now. Listen, there are I remember the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts, and most of his listeners. Or the majority of his listeners didn't like him, but they still listened to him. There's a lot of Tim Pool fans out there that claim that they hate me, but they still listen to me. I find that very funny. By the way, I've just learned that I will be back doing Tim Pool's show. Apparently, he's bringing his show to Las Vegas, I just found out. So apparently, I'm going to be doing Tim Pool's show when he comes to Las Vegas. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next. Hi, Jason. I think Jason is next. Hi, Jason.
Hey.
What's up?
Number one, that's why you don't argue with MAGA. They're in a cult, and Trump is their god. I've seen it on Facebook. They call Donald Trump the light. I'm telling you, MAGA is moronic. You can't argue. There's no debating. You can keep on trying, but you won't get them because they're in a cult.
Yes.
Number two, you know why Donald Trump doesn't say anything about Putin? Because let's be honest, Melania is the original OF fan from Russia. That's how he got married to Jeffrey Epstein.
Jason, can I? Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. So now there are rumors circulating from credible reporting that apparently Melania Trump was having sexual relations with Jeffrey Epstein. What do you think about that?
Guess what? I think Melania was also a teenager when he got married to Trump, but he had it covered up from Epstein.
Yeah. I think there's a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
We know for a fact that Donald Trump likes little girls. He said it on the Howard Stern show.
I know, but apparently, if you're Megyn Kelly, if you're attracted to 14 or 15-year-old girls, that's more acceptable than if it's an 8-year-old, according to Megyn Kelly, who, by the way, is an absolute disgrace. And if we were living in normal times, which clearly we're not now, Megyn Kelly would never get a job in media ever again after making statements like that, which are absolutely despicable.
Let me tell you something. Megyn Kelly is a witch. She's a witch. That's why she's part of the witch of Donald Trump, and she'll do anything Donald Trump says. Remember, Donald Trump insulted her, and she's his biggest defender. How do you get insulted and yet you defend him? That's like what's his name from Texas? Ted Cruz. Oh, that moron. Ted Cruz. Oh, he talks about his father and his wife, and he defends them. So
Cancun Cruz.
And that's it.
Thank you, Jason. No, I appreciate you, and you're absolutely correct, my friend. Thank you for the phone call. Cancun Cruz, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Mama. Mama is next up on PTL. What's up, Mama?
This is Mom Lisa. Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
And I'm a senior citizen. I done forgot what I was going to say there, Brian.
Well, you can
I just think of it and maybe say it on the next show.
You can just
I just want to say I love you. Keep giving us the truth, and I love everybody in the chat and the mods. Have a good day, Brian.
Thank you. You could have also added that I'm very handsome. You could have added that as well.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. She didn't want to go there. I appreciate, in all seriousness, thank you, my dear. You're welcome to call back anytime. I get that all the time, by the way. I think I'm going to say something, and I'm talking to somebody, and then I forget, and then I don't know what to say. Thank you for the call, my dear, though. I appreciate you. 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And let's go to Steve. Steve is next up on PTL. What's up, Steve?
Hi, Brian.
What's going on?
It's been a while, but I had to listen to that first caller of yours, and I imagine what he thinks about his wife. You think
you're talking about Brandon? You're talking about MAGA Brandon, yeah.
Yeah, the one that you really put down, and he deserved it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any way that those files are ever going to come out. But they're going to start that investigation, and they're going to have excuses why they can't release them.
Yep, I agree. And now that these MAGA Republican morons have tried to save their face because they knew that this was going to pass and they didn't want to vote no, except for one idiot. So, we're in the same position I think we were in months earlier, where even though Republicans voted yes, now they are turning to probably Pam Bondi and opening up a new investigation, or redacting the name of Donald Trump in there because he was a private citizen back then, which is, by the way, also absurd.
I thought it would have been appropriate if that woman reporter would have slapped him in the face.
Well, that would have been bad for her, because then the Secret Service, she would have never been allowed to be anywhere near Donald Trump ever again. But I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it.
It would have been worth it.
Yeah, the fact that there are people on the right that are defending that kind of language is why they voted for this 34-count felon adjudicated rapist. I mean, that's why. They don't care. Let me be very clear on this. If a black reporter asked Donald Trump a question that he didn't like, and Donald Trump called that person the N-word, there are people on the right that would still defend Donald Trump and say, well, he was just joking. I mean, you can't have a conversation. You can't have there's no bar that for these people. Calling a female reporter Miss Piggy, making fun of her weight, attacking women on looks. I mean, it's just, listen, the bar is so low with this guy, and then idiots think that that's his job to make people laugh. I'm being honest with you. He could literally sodomize a child on video or call a black reporter the N-word, and they would still support him. There's no low for these people. There's no low.
Or mock a handicap reporter.
Well, he did that. He already did that. We know he did that years ago. Yep.
Yes, he did.
Yep. Thanks for the call, my friend. I'm with you. What's
I was
up?
done with him after that.
Oh yeah,
I was done with him.
I was done. I agree with you, sir. I was done with him when he said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. I mean, there's no way I could ever vote for the guy. Thank you for the call, sir. 702-221-SAVE. Whatever happened to the president of the United States supposing to be a role model? Let's see. Let's go to Siobhan. Siobhan is next up on PTL. Hi, Siobhan.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Did you see where Michael Cohen's daughter was talking about Trump says she's a nice piece of...
Yeah, I've heard that. Yep.
That was crazy.
I'm not surprised. I mean, Donald Trump sexualizes his own daughter and said if she wasn't my daughter, I would date her. So, nothing.
Then why is he out here defending him?
It's sickening. Listen, this is a very, very sick man. Is he an awful man? Yes. But he's also very, very sick. Very sick.
Right.
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Siobhan, and I appreciate your call. Thank you. Let's go to Terrence. Terrence is next up on PTL. Hey, Terrence, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brian? I loved how you embarrassed Myron first off. Oh my God, how did you not puke standing next to that guy? Man, bravo, bravo.
Myron's. Thank you. Myron's fans will say that I'm the one that got destroyed because he called me a Jew because they're so stupid.
Oh, they're doing it.
But I'm going to tell you this again. Anything I would say on the air, for the most part, I would say off the air. Myron is fake. He's a complete phony.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When the cameras aren't on him, because I spent time around Myron, off the air, away from everything, not because I wanted to, because Tim Pool's people invited him to dinner. He's a completely different person. He doesn't talk. He looks at his phone. He doesn't make eye contact with people, and he certainly doesn't call people slurs when he's not on the. He's a fake. He's a phony. Myron's a phony. Yeah.
You can tell it in his face. But can we get to this Epstein list real quick? Because, this is a great day to be a lefty. Gotta love it. All I can say is, just for me, the whole sidesism needs to stop because since 2000, what I do know that's a fact is Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris ain't nowhere near that list. And you know what's so funny to me? Of all these people calling lefties so weak, Bubba, Trump really needs for Bubba. So let's just say he wants to make America, you know what? So yeah, that's all I have to say. I love your show. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm happy today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I'm in a fairly good mood today as well. I'm with you. Let's go to Pez. Pez is next up on PTL. What's up, Pez?
Hey, man, I just want to cover a summary. Oh, first off, Mama called me and wanted me to remind you that you were handsome. I don't just want to go through that.
Well, I appreciate that.
She
Thank
sent me a text. I think she felt bad for you.
That's okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just
the only reason why Trump had consistently denied having the files released is because he knew he didn't have the votes.
Right.
The only reason why he said recently, just as you implied, is he knew he did not have the votes to keep them from being released.
Correct.
Now you have Speaker Johnson saying that he doesn't want to release the unredacted versions because it's a matter of national security. I would assume that if the president of the United States and leader of the free world is implicated as a pedophile, that might be the issue of national security that he's alluding to.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but the problem is we can, and I think, I'm sorry, I'm up against the clock here, my friend. Call me tomorrow, but the problem is we can't trust anybody in the Trump administration. Certainly not Kash Patel, certainly not Pam Bondi. They know he's all over the Epstein files. We might not see him, at least not in Donald Trump's presidency. Quickly, I want to go to Joe. Joe is next up on PTL. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good.
I've been watching you for a little while. I usually watch you on YouTube on my phone, so I don't know how far back I've been waiting. But previous caller, Popcorn and his dually truck guy, mentioned Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
And I remember when I heard her make the comments that she did, it reminded me, I don't know if you're that into stand-up comedy, but there's a comic who made a joke a few years ago about R. Kelly. It's like R. Kelly, technically speaking, is the joke where he's describing that, technically speaking, R. Kelly's not a pedophile. And he's like, you can't make these distinctions without sounding like a pedophile. And it just kept reminding me of this joke, and it really hits, and it's crazy that Megyn Kelly made this whole thing unironically, and it wasn't a joke. It's kind of disgusting for these people.
Well, I could put R. Kelly, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, and Donald Trump in a room, And I can tell you that they have one thing in common, and it's not that their skin color, that's for sure, and it's not education or anything. I think we all know what all three of these men have in common, and they're very much attracted to young girls, young children.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they have. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I'm up against the clock, unfortunately, but I appreciate your call. Call me back again tomorrow. By the way, programming note, my good friend and left-leaning podcaster, and he's very popular on social media. I'm very happy that Ryan Shedd will be joining me in studio, co-hosting with me tomorrow. Man, is that going to be a lot of fun. Leonard Cardinal is going to be co-hosting with me Thursday, and I am going to have an all-out MAGA debate with a guy by the name of Warren Smith, who is extremely popular on social media. You can look him out on YouTube. He has specifically criticized me. He's done segments about me, and he has agreed to come on the show Friday and have an all-out, duke-it-out Donald Trump debate with me, so you're certainly not going to want to miss that either. Had some very generous people in the YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate you guys. For those of you out there and all your kind words, I so appreciate you. Word of mouth is so important. By the way, we just passed 153,000 YouTube subscribers, so thank you for that. Also, if you want to really help us out and help us keep the lights on and support independent media, please go to my website. My website, as you see it on the bottom of your screen right now, is pushingthelimits.live. If you go to pushingthelimits.live, you'll see a little icon that says donate. Doesn't matter what it is, $5, $10, $20 a month. You can do a one-time donation. We greatly appreciate that, and we use every cent of that towards this radio show and helping us continue to grow. So thank you all for your support. We've developed quite a family here at PTL Nation. Also, my thanks to Ron Filipkowski, who is so great, and Destiny. We had two great guests today, and I'm very fortunate to know them and call them friends. They're awesome, and they're so good at what they do. Thank you all. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located